make sense to nobody, right? That's what good discipline do. Discipline means you stick. It says there come a time when holding on to your Islam would be like holding on to a hot coal, right? Yeah, like a hot coal in your hand. And that's what, once you're trained, it's not a big deal. But most people are not allowed to ascend to anywhere along that level. And the African leaders, the first thing they do, the poor guy was saying, y'all talking about the guns are going to be silent in 2020? Well, 2020 is almost gone. And it ain't no gun silent in Africa. And all the mistakes that they went through, he talked about how important Africa is, and everybody do. Well, the Japanese invited the African leaders to come, and they talk about what they, Japanese, and what Africans are going to do to help each other grow. He says, I don't believe it. He says, in China, they put the chiefs and all them guys, the dictators, they said they give them special treatment. You know, so you get your own little car, and they put them in the biggest hotels, you know. And the leaders are talking to them about, we're going to share and work together. Well, I'll tell you, it's a real dirty game. Remember I showed you a picture of these little kids? They would be considered born free. Anybody after 94, almost called 90 when Nelson Mandela got out of prison, because apartheid was moving toward an end, and a little kid, 4 or 5 years old, wouldn't pick up all of what's going on anyway, and so he wouldn't be totally shaped and formed. When I was in South Africa a few years ago, traveling around, one of my friends, he was telling me about, you know, all we did is we traveled and raised funds for Raouf, the drug program. And so we talked all the time. We traveling from city to city. And once they're having a marathon, and it's a lady directing traffic, South African lady, you know, black lady, with a pistol on, a regular police uniform. He says she's considered a born free. They don't remember apartheid. They don't remember all the oppression. You know what I mean? It's like our kids, they know about Jim Crow, they know about that, but they don't technically feel it. You know what I mean? And the older you are, the more you feel it. You know what I mean? No, that was different than what you watching now on that TV. That happened, but it felt different than the way they making it look. It felt 10 times, you know what I mean? Just to have the police put his hand on you like they do right there, they do it so in a way you know you flint, you almost they know how to touch you to make you want to hit them, because they're invading your space, and they know what they're doing. When they got the team there, they want you to automatically, you know, they touch you in a way to where you would, if it was anybody else, you would throw a punch at them. Well, when they got their team there, they do that on purpose. When they searching you, spread your legs, and they're kicking your legs. So you know what I mean? So you got to open them wider, and they don't need them that wide, but it's an assault on your space. So they know what they're doing. These things with black people right now in America and around the world, whether you're African or whether you're African American, some people, maybe it's a super guilt trip about what they did. Maybe part of that guilt trip is, if I were you and I got power, this is what I would do to you. You know, that's the way they think. Hey, if black people, and they didn't read 2 or 3 books, if they get power, me and you right here, they're almost certain, without any proof, that we're going to do them the way they do. The proof all goes the other way. Whether it was Mandela, whether it was Jomo Kenyatta in Kenya, wherever it was, when the black people took power, very seldom did they retaliate and try to do, like in South Africa now, they're just easing up on land, you know what I mean, giving the land back to Africans. They didn't do it right away. 80% of the land in South Africa is still owned by white folks. And the land laws in South Africa are deadly. Because if we own this land and they discover oil right outside in the yard, that's our oil. When you own the land in South Africa, you own what's on top, but you don't own the gold, diamonds, and all of that in the earth. You don't own that. That's gold-blooded. They still got that on the books. That's to protect white folks. That's to protect Anglo-American. Well, they tell you Anglo mining company. That's what they used to call it. So when anything happens, they think that we're going to respond. If we get freedom, power, influence, that we're going to do them like they did us. Well, if that happened in the earlier years, it might have been true. But what happened is, when you get a chance to evolve, I would say our policy is a policy of evolution towards humanity. We know we're black. We know what they do all the time. We know it. We sitting there right, you can't miss it. But for those reasons, those are the reasons that we're going to try to apply another force where we influence the direction of change. Why? Because murder builds on murder, and murder. If the black people take over the white people and make them poor, right? Then they 2-3 generations, them niggas gonna get lazy and fat, they children, and stupid. And the white folks gonna be big-eyed and mad, you know what I mean? And they're gonna take it back. You'll be in the cycle over and over and over again until somebody just gets rid of the other one, you know what I mean? Okay, so I think I showed y'all some of these pictures right here. These are pictures of white folks, just white folks. Yeah, it ain't nothing new. We've been where we are. We've been here. That's why it's probably not that difficult. But the hippies and all them type of people, we had close contact with them, Haight-Ashbury and all of that, we had. Okay, there's another thing before closing. If you look at this picture, just look at that picture a minute. That's called the Elephant Orphanage. That's in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka and those countries where just a few years ago they used the big elephants to move this around and move that around. This is called the Elephant Orphanage. I don't know if you remember, maybe about 10 years ago, there was a newspaper article with this elephant orphanage in it from Washington Post. And Sister Bahia put up a few of these to show that they could tell the kids, see, Imam Musa has been here to this, okay. All kind of stuff. We would like to share with people. Remember I was telling you about the red fountain in Iran? It looks like blood. That's one of the pictures we got there, right there. Okay. Yeah, this is the president of Afghanistan just before he goes back to Afghanistan and get martyred. It's stuff like this. In the background, you'll see the Hindu Kush mountains right there. That's Kashmir. You could tell the way the brother looked that it's where, that's Kashmir, and those are the Hindu Kush mountains. Okay. What I'm trying to say is about all of this, whether it's Africa, whether it's the Middle East, I would have liked to have people, this is Hezbollah without the turban, stuff like that. Yeah, no, I mean, they finally got enough sense to not show up with a turban on. But this is the representative of Hezbollah, right? That's the representative. Those no, I mean, these people are all friends, like, you know what I mean? And this is our brother right here. Just think, he was right over there from Dar Hijra. Yeah. He was. They run away from him. Yeah, they just run away from him. So it's what boss man lacks. They run to where boss man is. And it's a sad case. Now, here we are. What are we going to do with all of these sicknesses that black people have, that Arabs have, that Iranians have? And what is their position with us? In a lot of cases, in most cases, it's a case of we'll use you and use you up. If you look at the brother's case, in Iran, maybe they got him to play a part in some type of assassination or something like that. Let's just say maybe. But his thing was, he wanted to get back here after he picked it up, and he said, yeah, they basically used me. Okay, now, our situation is different. We was already grown when we were around everybody. Anything we did, we already know how people are, or we know it 100 times over. So if we put our life on the line for the Islamic Republic, it's for the Islamic Republic. But that don't mean, and the whole process is, historically, after the good guys take over, right, then they got a lot of crooks. There's an opportunity to get a position, to get power. And you get one or two of them in there, and then they bring everybody else with their line. When I was sitting in the airport in Iran, and when you come in the diplomatic area, you go to back to the diplomatic area, and you don't go with all the public out there, and then you go get on the plane. Well, I was sitting in there with Zarif. So another guy, oh, Imam Musa, how's everything? So where you headed? Says, I'm the new ambassador to Malaysia. They both friends. When I'm at the UN, sitting at the hotel, and the brothers is up there, and the elevator is right there. I'm sitting right there with Faisal Khan, somebody right there at the elevator, a couple of chairs. Doors open. Oh, Imam Musa, haven't seen you in 34 years. That's exactly what he said. They're on the team of all of those guys. What's wrong with them that they can't see? They're trying to sell me years ago on what I was sold on. Hey, I think the revolution is da-da-da-da. Now, they done joined the team. And their team is against what they stated it was about years ago. You know, and boss man don't be playing with nobody. I'm telling you, one of the big shots now. When we'd have a program in New York, he'd pick me up. He was, junior staff member, not a junior staff member, but he was big then. Dr. Karazi was the head of the UN then. So he says, yeah, man, my back wheel came off. And man, if my family was in the car and what have you. I said, oh yeah. I said, man, I was driving. In fact, I was going to see the chief. I said, man, I was driving down the street, and all of a sudden, I stopped at the stop sign, and my back wheel caught up with me, came off the car and passed me up. It all happened real quick. But I'm looking. I feel a little something, and I'm looking, and the wheel rolled by. So I just went and I picked the wheel up and jacked the car up. A lot of people thought I just picked it up because I was pretty strong. And it was just a little Fiat. And I actually forgot whether I picked it up or what, but I took one lug off, they had 4 lugs. So I took one off this, one off that, one off, and I said, or two. So now each one of them got about 3 lugs on it. So it's fine. 3 lugs is plenty for a little car like that. But the point is, I reacted different than he did. First thing he said was, oh, my family, oh, my kids, this, that, and that. And the thing is that if you take certain jobs, you have to put that issue first. Because if anybody study you and they figure, oh, my kids, then they're just going to threaten your children, right? And you're finished because that's what your mind is focused on, right? Okay, well, they do the same thing to us, and they've been doing the same thing to us. But I could show you at, this is As-Sabiqun in Oakland. This is much bigger than it looked. And this is a fundraiser at University of San Diego. You see all the people in there? That's just what the camera picks up. If we cooperated with them today, up to now, we would be pulling that kind of crowd everywhere. Because that's the crowd. In fact, I think at that, Abdul Malik is going to speak. Muhammad Al-Asi spoke there too. For some reason, he happened to be in town at that time. The point is, if you sing the song, you're on the team. And you sing the same notes. We don't need any, you have to keep the same notes. You have to stay in tune. Okay, we saying, I'm sorry. That's why in our lectures here in 2007, we said that the Islamic Republic, that the people here, or that we've come in contact with, do not represent the Islamic Republic of Iran. In other words, they don't represent the ideas. And when they bring up something about anti-vilayati faqih, it could be any of those people. Can you imagine vilayati faqih has protected them and gave them all of that? And they don't know. That's another picture. I'm not going to mention his name, but that's a guy, he's Algerian. And that's his wife. She's speaking right over at the Masjid. You could tell that she's speaking there. And a lot of the people who came was foreigners. Okay, we was having a fundraiser for him. And she spoke, and then after it was over, I said, hey, let's all put together and, technically give her a little something so she could, I'm not going to tell you his name, he's still over here. It was a little discussion over there at Dar al-Hijra